Sara Luchian. Welcome to GG24. It's such a great honor to be in the presence of someone who is writing the history of transportation. So first of all, congratulations.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be chatting with you.
You are Director for Passenger Experience at Virgin Hyperloop, and you are one of the first two passengers ever to travel in a pod through a Hyperloop. So basically, you tasted a new means of transportation, but your achievements are have such greater importance for us because you have a Romanian background. Tell us about it.
Oh, well, thank you so much. Yes, so if you want a little bit of background about me, as you noted, both of my parents are Romanian. They were both engineers, and they immigrated to the United States just a few years before I was born. So I grew up speaking English and, attending American schools, but I've always felt very connected to my Romanian background and my ancestry. And was actually visiting in Romania just a few years ago. So thank you for your kind words. I think the innovation that we're working on here is something that around the world. And so it's not just an American accomplishment, it's an international one.
Yeah, for sure. And I was wondering if in any way, the way you were raised or maybe the background of your parents did in any way influence your path, your professional path.
I think it probably did. My parents, as I noted, were engineers. My mom, when she was young, always dreamed of being an astronaut or really a cosmonaut. She didn't do that. She became an engineer, and she may not have made it to the stars, but she made it here. And I think that for me, it opened up a lot of opportunity. I was always encouraged to STEM, science, tech, engineering, math, and I kind of resisted a little bit. So my background is in psychology and business, which sets me up very well for the passenger experience side of things. But I think I always retained an affinity for engineering and engineers because I found myself unexpectedly at a company of many, many engineers. And I think also, appreciating different cultures and where my parents were from helped me to look forward to solutions that can be solutions for all people and zoom out a little bit from just an American focus and think about what can we do to make the world a better place. So I think that has driven my path somewhat.
And since I've mentioned earlier, you are one of the first two passengers, to travel through a Hyperloop. Just describe us that experience because there's no way to compare it to anything else we know so far.
It was thrilling. It was so exhilarating. And I know that part of that was the psychology of the moment, just knowing that we were about to write history by riding in that Hyperloop in that moment. But it was also exciting because we were accelerating fairly quickly. And it was a very short ride, but a very meaningful and unforgettable ride. I will say I'd been warned to expect a couple of little bumps and maybe a hard stop at the end since we got up to speed so quickly, but it was much smoother than I was expecting and also very quiet.
How does the future of transportation, of travel, look like? Because I cannot help but remember that there are many in this world, many in Romania actually, who still travel by horse-drawn carriages. So what you're doing looks like centuries ahead.
Yes, well, I think it's a good point. We have so many different modes of transportation that are still in play all around the world. But this is truly the first new mode of transportation that's being developed in over a century, right? And the reason that we're working on it is because you can maintain all of those previous modes, and many of them have their place, right? We're probably not going to put a Hyperloop between every 2 points. It's part of a larger ecosystem, but if you continue to maintain the old modes of transportation, you continue to run up against the old problems in transportation. And so with increasing congestion and traffic and pollution, we are looking for a solution that addresses 21st century transportation needs. So this is meant to connect cities as if they were metro stops. It doesn't replace every other mode, but it certainly augments our ability to connect with one another, connect with family, affordable housing, good education, healthcare, and the like.
Do you think something like that we will get to experience in our lifetime?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I experienced it this weekend. Of course, on a smaller track, but we're working on this problem. It's actually really remarkable from my perspective that this was just an idea 6-7 years ago, and then I wrote in it on Sunday. And if that is what we're able to accomplish in 6 years, from diagrams, from ideas, to an actual moving vehicle with 2 passengers who are safely able to ride, I can only imagine, although I also have some idea, about what we're going to be able to accomplish in the next 6 years. So we are looking to get certification at our newly announced Hyperloop Certification Center in the state of West Virginia. And we're looking for certification in the 2025-2026 timeline, and then deployment of actual passenger-bearing routes just within a few years after that. So this is not just science fiction, right? It's no longer fiction at all. It's something that we can hope to ride on in years, not in decades.
Future passengers expect from this experience?
Great question. So when I think about the passenger experience, I'm thinking about it from end to end. Basically, from the moment you're thinking, oh, I want to travel somewhere, I have to get to a station. How far is the station from your home? How easy is it to get there? And so, one of the things we're thinking about is having multiple smaller distributed stations, and if not that, ensuring that the stations, or portals as we call them, are close to the city center. Every pod, which will hold up to 28 passengers, everyone will be going to the same destination. No one stops on the way to get on or off. It'll be clean, quiet, smooth. The pod that I rode in this weekend, this is a test vehicle. It only holds 2 people. We couldn't stand upright fully, although I'm very small, so I almost could. But the production pod, you'll be able to stand up, walk up and down the aisle, access your luggage. So it'll be much more comfortable and spacious.
În orele următoare,